The story of Fayez Khan, or Mada Pasha, as he styles himself online, is a damning portrait of a justice system that cannot even confine its own offenders. Khan, an Afghan migrant who threatened to kill Nigel Farage in a series of TikTok videos, is now serving a 5-year sentence for that threat and a further 8 months for entering Britain illegally. Yet astonishingly, even from behind bars, he managed to re-emerge on social media, mocking the very authority that imprisoned him. 9 new videos appeared online under a fresh handle, filmed either inside or on behalf of Khan from his prison cell. He's seen laughing, shouting, and making gun gestures while boasting of his Afghan origins and repeating the same violent pantomime that first put him in court. Tens of thousands watched and liked the clips before the Ministry of Justice stepped in to remove them. Farage himself reposted one with a sharp rebuke. How is he allowed to continue posting these videos from prison? Britain is broken. The question is unavoidable. How is that possible? Prisons are supposed to be sealed environments. Phones are contraband, searches are routine, and digital monitoring is constant. Yet Khan's videos were uploaded, viewed, and shared by over several days before anyone reacted. No phone was found on him, suggesting either gross negligence in surveillance or complicity by another inmate or outside contact. This is not an isolated blunder. It follows a string of humiliations for the prison service: the accidental release of Hadush Kabatu, an Ethiopian asylum seeker convicted of sexually assaulting a child; the spectacle of a pro-Palestine activist leading protests from inside Wormwood scrubs with a phone and a loudspeaker. The pattern is systemic: a collapse of internal discipline, security, and basic administrative competence. Politically, the Khan affair feeds directly into the narrative that sustained Reform UK's rise. For 18 months, Nigel Farage has weaponised bureaucratic dysfunction: the Home Office that cannot deport, the prisons that cannot contain, the borders that cannot deter. Now a convicted offender he personally exposed online is taunting him, and by extension taunting the British state. Every new video becomes a propaganda gift to reform, proof that the system has lost control. But there is another layer here. Khan's original threat was not only criminal, but symbolic of a wider digital culture of performance menace. The gesture of pop, 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 his mock gunfire, was both bravado and branding. His tattoo of an AK-47, his repeated self-references as Mada Pasha, his live-streamed channel crossing, all were components of a grotesque influencer persona. He was chasing attention as much as entry into Britain. That he could continue this act from prison exposes how porous even incarceration has become in the age of social media. The legal outcome, too, reveals a familiar paradox. Khan will almost certainly be deported at the end of his sentence, as policy requires for foreign offenders jailed for over a year, but Farage and others fear he may be released early under standard remission rules, free to roam for months before deportation is arranged. 5 years on paper may translate to less than 2 in practice. It is easy to see why the public perceives this as absurd. There is, of course, a moral dimension that must not be ignored. Threats to kill, however absurdly framed, corrode civil order. They are not speech crimes, but acts of intimidation designed to silence. And when directed at political figures, they strike at the democratic process itself. The fact that Khan's antics became viral entertainment underscores how desensitized the online world has grown to violent expression. The government's response to promise immediate action and threaten further penalties is reactive rather than reforming. The real problem lies in the conjunction of the two failures: a justice system unable to secure its walls, and a digital culture that amplifies the most degenerate voices. A man like Khan should have vanished from public view the moment he entered custody. Instead, he's become a living emblem of Britain's institutional incoherence. And this is something larger than one migrant or one politician. It's about whether the rule of law can still command respect in a society that cannot enforce it. Khan's mocking grin from his cell is the image of a system that has lost its seriousness, a reminder that authority once ridiculed is difficult to restore. The Khan case should prompt a reckoning, not a xenophobic backlash or a political stunt, but a sober review of how prisons are run, how deportations are managed, how digital media is policed behind bars. When a convicted criminal can film himself miming gunfire at a national politician and broadcast it to thousands, the phrase "Britain is broken" ceases to be rhetoric, it becomes reportage.